Hello Pisces friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Pisces December 2023 Astrology Horoscope forecast. This is for you if Pisces is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Pisces placement that you're watching or listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Pisces friend, so birthdays around March 3rd or March 15th through the rest of the sign, or degrees around 23 degrees of Pisces through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Aries report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. I'm calling the theme of this month 2024 Sneak Peek and 2023 Wrap Up. So we're going to talk about things that we're working with at the end of this year, specifically December in this time frame, shorter term transits that will blow in and blow out, but will give you a flavor for the month to understand how best to use the energy. And then we'll talk about some of the long-term transits that you have been working with for a while and that you're going to continue to be working with into 2024. So you'll have more of an understanding of some of these lessons and experiences that you've been going through, and insight about the continuation of these themes into next year. Now, I'm always trying to figure out ways to keep everyone happy. I know I've got my crew who enjoys looking at the chart, and then I have the rest of you who do not like to look at the chart. So, of course, I have the podcast option for those of you who don't want the visuals. But I just came up with a new idea that I want to try this month, where I'm going to put the picture of the chart here with some notes right now. And those of you who are interested in the chart, just take a screenshot of the chart or take a picture of it on your phone or something. And then I'll move into the pretty slideshow. And then for those of you who want to use the chart, you've now have it recorded somewhere and you can look back to it as I'm referring to it. And for those of you who don't want the chart, then you can have the pretty slideshow. Now, I am feeling really wintry. And I know for those of you down under, it's not winter. So hopefully my little winter scenes will help cool you off with the heat that you're working with down there. Okay, so let's talk about some general energies of this month. I'm calling the theme of the month a very merry season of sweet aspects. And that's because we finally have a shift in what I call the sweet to salty aspect ratio. Sweet, of course, being when the planets are getting along and moving into mathematical configurations that bring harmony and sweet stuff, versus the salty aspects, as I like to call them, where the planets are not getting along. So for several months in a row, we've had a really big imbalance of salty aspects to sweet ones, and that's been annoying. A lot of road bumps, September, October, November. And of course, December will have its moments. But we finally have a shift where we have more sweet aspects. So that's just a general feel of the month where the planets are getting along. If you would like to see more details, I'm not going to go into a lot of details about the aspects, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com and join my free VIP community by putting your email address in there, and you'll get my monthly write-up that goes into my favorite aspects of each month and the ones to be especially awareful and careful of. Okay, so you can get deeper into that with that resource. Okay, so something else notable about this period of time is that we're exiting eclipse season. So September, October into November, heat of eclipse season, we had that very powerful, very emotional, very intense close up of the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle. And another layer of the Aries Libra eclipse cycle, both of those bringing storylines of me versus we and my stuff versus our stuff, big endings, big beginnings. You can see back to my September, October, and November reports to understand those cycles more. But what we want to know now for December is that although we can have news come in, some clarifying information, some events can still be trickling in based on the eclipse storylines. But now we're starting to really move out of eclipse season. So this is a time that's a little bit more peaceful, a little less intense, just from the perspective of the eclipse cycle, that is, of course, because there are always more variables than we can really speak to as far as how we're each going to individually experience this. But this is a layer of the energies of this month. So, and that's what I like to talk about is the energetics. You know, if we understand the energetics are at play and there are always layers and layers and layers, then we can more understand what's going on as it happens. Now, December delivers us right back into Mercury retrograde season. If you're listening to this early, then you know, or if you've been listening to my reports, you know that October and November were a nice open time mostly free, except for the beginning of October and the end of November. We had a nice golden period free from personal planet retrogrades. When personal planets, which is Mercury, Venus, Mars, when we have any retrogrades from those planets, it sort of brings us inward and backward, makes us a little bit more unsure about the future and harder to plan the future and even the present. So October and November, we had this nice open period where it was easier to make some big decisions, big purchases, big moves. And if you're still listening to this, because I always post these early, in that period of time, then just know, wow, yeah, this is super open for that. And of course, the eclipses probably brought lots of opportunities for these big decisions or these big experiences. But now that we're moving into December, we're actually moving back into the inward and backward energies. Okay, so there will be a shift, and you will notice as the end of November into December, officially going retrograde December 12th. Mercury will go retrograde until January 1st, and then it will take until January 21st for it to be clear of its post-retrograde shadow. So that basically means, unfortunately for holiday season, that it's going to be a little bit harder to make definite plans during holiday season. And I know it's hard to write things in pencil at holiday time because they're big celebrations often, but the more you can write things in pencil or leave flexibility around what you're expected to do and what you expect others to do, the more harmony and peace you'll have, where you won't have to get into these Mercury retrograde types of arguments or communication conflicts based on expectation. This is a big theme this month, expectation. So if of course we want to have expectations from people because we want to have boundaries and not have too low of standards for, our relationships and our experiences, right? But at the same time, just if we can be more understanding that the energetics of the month are not going to allow for making as many definite plans as we may like. If we let people off the hook, we let ourselves off the hook and leave that flexibility, it just can be so much smoother, and more happy and more merry. Now, that being said, Mercury retrograde can be great for last minute plans. It can be great even for travel. But a lot of those things, will tend to visit or to tend to jive with last minute things, last minute magic, like I like to call it, where something comes up all of a sudden, or you thought maybe you weren't going to be able to do something or go somewhere, and wow, all of a sudden it's working out, so just kind of be open to the moment-to-moment magic that can occur at this time. Now, as far as holiday shopping, if you celebrate any of the holidays that occur this month or this period of time, you may want to get your shopping done early. October, November may be a little better for finding the perfect gift and receiving it not broken, and having it be, received better from the people that you're giving it to. Because trying to buy things in the retrograde can be a little bit more hectic, a little bit not working out as much as you'd like it to. So if you're a last minute shopper, it might be a little better this year to try to bump that up a bit. Now, some other energetics, before we go into some Pisces specific things, is that we do have a longer lasting Scorpio set of energies this year, because Venus is running through the whole sign of Scorpio in December. So we've had October, November, a lot of Scorpio energy, the closing of that, Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle, a lot of heaviness, a lot of water. And, Pisces people, y'all tend to work with the water really well, being of that element yourself. But, it's heavier. It's Scorpio energy is definitely different than Pisces energy. It's the same in the way that it's emotional and it's internal. But it's different in the way that, the Scorpio energy can be a little bit heavy, a little bit of just, the energy of transformation. And so we're having that continue as a theme this month, even as we have the buoy of the Sagittarian energies. So it's just something to be aware of. Wonderful chances to unite with others in meaningful ways, to make psychological or spiritual breakthroughs, to find the perfect mystery series to read or write if you're a writer, and to give emotional or financial support to others, or to receive financial or emotional or other support. So those energies are very strong as Scorpio is extending into this time. Then the Sagittarius energies are taking center stage. So the Sun, Mercury, Mars, bringing adventure. And again, if you did take the snapshot of the picture of the chart at the beginning of this reading, then you can look. I have everything marked. You can see Mercury there Mercury will be in Capricorn, but it will retrograde back into Sagittarius. The Sun is in Sag. I have it marked there. Mars is there. All that's on the top of the chart. And, these energies are vibrant and they're energetic and they're dizzying. They're mutable like you. One of the things that Pisces energy has in common with Sagittarius energy is that it's mutable energy. So it's all over the place. It moves in a spiral. So Sag energy tends to move in a physical spiral, and the Pisces energies tend to move in an emotional spiral. So a lot of busyness, a lot of all over the placeness this month. You might have to fight a little harder to find and keep your center. And we'll talk more about that as we talk about the, these longer term transits that are affecting you now and in 2024. But just kind of, you may have to take more personal space to hold everything together during this time. And the Sag energies are going to bring a much needed lightening of this heaviness of this prolonged Scorpio transit series. And there'll be a big tendency to overdo with these Sag energies, overdoing anything that you could possibly overdo for better or worse. There's a tendency to do that now. And Jupiter's also going to go direct this month, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, which is going to give this more spunk. So if you have things you have to do, you'll have more energy to do them. And I always like to say, whenever there are fire energies afoot, that is a time when Pisces is having a fire underneath your watery pot. Okay, so all of that fire energy, the Mercury going back into Sag from the retrograde, the Sun, Mars, we also have star goddess Ceres, all in this fire is creating this, ambition and motivation and, as a catalyst. It serves as a catalyst for all energies, but specifically for your water energies. It can bring things up to a boil. And because this is in a square for you, a square means 3 signs away. So, between Sag to Capricorn, Capricorn to Aquarius, Aquarius to Pisces, that's 3 signs. That's a 90-degree angle. That's called a square. This is a pressure point. Sometimes we learn to fear that word pressure, right? Because if you already feel overwhelmed by pressure, if you think there's going to be some more, then you're going to be like, whoa, don't want any more of that. But this can be a really good thing. If you are a Pisces who is not inclined, to action, and you have some things that you've been needing to get done, especially things closer to you, not as much the big missions in life, not as much although some of that might start to wake up with the Jupiter going direct though too. But being in the retrograde, this is a time to clean up your space, to clear out clutter, to get a head start on your taxes, to just get the things done you've been needing to get done, and also have the connections with others that you've been meaning to have. This is a very highly communicative month, a time when, and it's perfect, jiving with the holidays as well. This is a time to get back in touch with people and to say yes to whatever people who are trying to get back in touch with you if you're intuitively inclined. I mean, if you're seeing a red flag, or, you don't have to say yes to everything that comes your way. But this is a time for interactions with other people. It's an especially wonderful time for studying if you have finals or, for this term or any other kind of thing where there's a course or a class or something involving research or studying or learning, or if you are the teacher teaching. The Sagittarius energy is perfect for that. And it's also amazing for long distance travel. And yes, you can travel during Mercury retrograde. It is a myth to avoid travel during Mercury retrograde. However, there are things you need to be aware of. If you plan a very rigid trip and you only have a small amount of time and everything has to work out perfectly or else it's going to be a mess, maybe it's not the best time to travel unless you have a last minute opportunity that you feel like you want to say yes to. But if you can flow and there can be flexibility and you can be okay with cancellations or shifts or kind of go for the journey of the travel, then it could be really great for that. And the Sagittarius energy brings up the international scene in a huge way. Different countries, different cultures, different languages, immigration, passports, things like that could be coming up very strongly at this time. Now, you can also see from the chart, if you're looking at it, that the energies, I circled the 10th house there. You'll see a 10, and then it's kind of connected to the Mars and the Sun, and Mercury is over there. So these planets, including the Mercury retrograde, are going to be very much highlighting your 10th house. Your 10th house, houses in astrology, by the way, are fields of experience that we have as humans. They're little sections, like sectioning off of the things we experience in life into their little areas of rulership, okay? So the 10th house rules our place out in the world. For many people, that's a job or employment or work of some kind. For others, it's I like to call a passion project. That's my term that I like to use. Passion projects can be linked to income, but they don't have to be. It could just be something that you're offering the world with your gifts. It could be something, that you're volunteering for. It could be a project that you're heading up. It could be something that you're showing up for or meeting people or getting involved in the scene that's outside your protected realm of your inner world. It's you being out there in some way. And that's lit up super strong for you. And part of the square with these planets may come from maybe you don't want to be out seen and, interacting, hobnobbing with people. But there's a little bit of pressure to do that. Maybe you're having to go to some social events and you don't feel like it. But there's a very good chance that there are going to be positive outcomes and wonderful opportunities for some puzzle pieces to fit together that may have been missing their piece for a while. So, and also it could turn out to be more fun than you think. You could dread it and then it could turn out awesome. Mercury retrograde tends to bring things back from the past. And so things from the past involving work or the passion project or career can come up. So a past work opportunity can come back. If you need a job, you may be more successful if you go back to old things you did or old contacts that you had or an old company that you worked for. You may be able to find a nice transition job to hold you down in between jobs. So things involving the past and things involving work, career, employment, business are all lighting up now. As is father energies. Now, this can be a very wide topic. Any kind of parent or parenting can come in here, but there is a special affinity for the energy of father figure, the energy of, a Saturnian figure, we'll say. Sometimes a Saturnian figure can be a mother. I know for myself in my chart, my mom is, very Saturnian, and she shows up in my 10th house. Was a single mom for a time, this energy of form, of discipline, of structure is really what is happening here. And for many people, that takes the form of the father energy, but for others, it might not. There's someone else Saturnian in your life, or something else Saturnian. But the energy of Saturn is coming up big time at this time because these Sag energies that are flooding your 10th house are bringing this energy. So it could be something from the past that your father figure or Saturn figure or you as a Saturn figure or an in-law's Saturn figure, is coming to bring in, or you're receiving something from your fathers or, that you learned from one of these Saturnian figures. It can also be the development of yourself as that wise Saturnian figure. Saturn rules this discipline. I always say he's a chop buster. He wants you to do your work and then get the rewards from the discipline and the hard work that you have. These are long-term types of energies, and they're coming back from the past at this time. Okay, so now let's talk about some other placements that you've been working with throughout this year and that you are also going to be working with into 2024. So if you look at my chart, you'll see the first thing on the left, it would be like the 9 o'clock area of the chart if this were a clock. I have it labeled Saturn there, easy enough to see. Saturn is my segue. Okay, we were talking about some short-term transits because of the 10th house being ruled by Saturn and the 10th house being lit up by Sagittarius for Pisces at this time. But what we also have going on this year and until 2026 is Saturn moving through your sign, okay? So this taskmaster wants to take everything watery, formless, abstract about your Piscean view and experience and firm it up a little bit, okay? Some of this may feel unwelcome, like reality checks or kind of sternness, but some of it may be really, really, really welcome where all of these feelings and emotions and visions that you have can start to take shape. So these several years are a really important time. You only get 3-ish years every 28 or so years in a Saturn cycle where Saturn is in your sign. So this is a very big deal. And you can think back to a Saturn cycle ago. If you want to look at the exact dates, just look up Saturn in Pisces. When was Saturn last in Pisces or something like that? You can get the exact dates. But, it's basically around a 28 to 30 year cycle. So around that time ago, you were going through what Saturn is doing now, if you're old enough to have, to be able to have that frame of reference. And if you're not, or even if you are, the thing to know is that Saturn wants to apply the structure and form to everything formless, okay? It wants you to master your mind, to harness your unruly thoughts, to add structure and strength to your physical body, to attend to your skeletal structure and your mineral balance, to get into an exercise routine that helps your hormones and your biochemical cascades in your body, in the form of your neurotransmitters and your feel-good hormones and all of those goodies. Saturn, the transits, wants these to be regulated and straightened out for you. So if you've struggled with mood, if you've struggled with things with your physical body or your mental state, your emotional space, Saturn wants you to do work to make this situated, okay? And you've got these multiple years that you can build. Sometimes seeing somebody like a counselor, a therapist, somebody to help you go into that deep space and come out with some sort of structure to find the gold. We've also have Neptune. Oh gosh, Neptune has been in your sign for a long time and it will continue to be there. Actually, around the same time Saturn is moving out of Pisces, Neptune will move out of Pisces. So that will kind of be a monumental thing between 2025 to 2026 is when Neptune gets out. And, I already told you Saturn will be there until 2026. So you still have a time where Neptune, which rules Pisces, is in its own sign. So this adds everything great in the way of more intuition, more connection to the all that is, seeing beyond the veil, connecting to people and things beyond this realm, angelic guidance, spiritual and artistic inspiration, poetry, art, music, all of that is just supercharged during this transit. But it can also be dissolving. The other side of it is it can dissolve things out. It can make you feel like where Pisces rules the feet. So I always just kind of imagine in this situation with your feet being at the shore and the water, keeps covering them and then you're sinking into the sand and things are dissolving out from under you. So you may have been feeling like things have been dissolving out from under you for a while. And now Saturn's coming. So even though Saturn can, like I said, be strict and stern and annoying and a chop buster, he really seeks to add form, and you really need that. You need it because you're Pisces energy. You need it because you're a human, period. You need it because Neptune's been doing this dissolving thing for a long time. And so Saturn can be your friend here. Okay, this is a nice antidote to the excess of dissolving. And it can also help you take all of those musical and artistic interests and take them from the void, from the formless, and put them into something tangible and material. So the transiting North Node, which is our areas of highest expression in this lifetime, is showing everyone in the zodiac that we have keys to our highest expression through some individuality. Okay, that's a theme for all zodiac signs. And for Pisces, this is in the second house, and this theme is through your focus on the material, focus on the visible, focus on the practical, and focus on your individuality. There are some important keys to stepping into your highest expression in this lifetime. Now, if you look, okay, so basically in the chart, it says transiting North Node in the bottom left there, and it's a little glyph that looks like headphones. And if you look opposite it, there's a little glyph that looks like a horseshoe. It says transiting South Node. Now, that's the opposing force, and that clears up karma. So basically, everyone with these eclipses, the eclipse cycles are linked to the nodes. Okay, so the eclipse cycle we've just finished, and the eclipse cycle we've just started, Aries, Libra. We finished the Taurus, Scorpio. These have both been working on healing relationship karma, relationship to everything and everyone. So through healing relationship karma, both through the sign of Libra and the house of the 8th house, which is where it is it's for everybody in Libra. Okay, so that storyline of healing relationships is true for all signs. And the storyline of going deeper into healing deep relationships with money and resources through the house of Scorpio, which is the 8th house here, which you can see on the chart if you're looking. And by the way, if you're listening on a podcast, you can go to YouTube and see the visuals. And if you don't want to see the visuals, you can either scroll down on your screen or you can find Annie Botticelli Astro Kisses on pretty much all the major venues. Okay, so basically you're healing relationships and you're stepping into more autonomy and individuality. And all of these themes have been present and they're going to continue into 2024. Jupiter has been in the sign of Taurus, kind of running back up to this energy, as I was saying here, because Taurus energy is this material, it's practical, it's, daily type of things that you see in front of you. Jupiter is expanding that space for everyone, expanding financial consciousness, expanding understanding of the value of money and budgeting, and just kind of sometimes things that people weren't taught a lot. I know many people were not given financial literacy as a course as a child or a teen or even as a young adult. So this could be a time to increase your financial literacy, to understand money better and values and your own value for work and such. Now, specifically for Pisces, this Jupiter, which started this energy in Taurus in May of 2023, and it will go through May of 2024, is also expanding your 3rd house of Gemini. Okay, and this energy has to do with communication, writing, learning, researching, interacting with others, social interactions, cousins, aunts, uncles, basically relatives that aren't your kids or parents. All of that's being really well lit up for Pisces at this time. And then also in the same area, we have the planet Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so it's been a little disruptive there because Uranus is the shock and awe planet, as I like to call it. And it's been kind of stirring up financial things, as we've seen. It's been there for a long time. That's for everybody. But it's also revolutionizing your approach to gathering and sharing information. So that theme has been present, and that theme will continue to be present. When you have Uranus in your communication house like this, it could cause you to be a little surprising with your communication. And you could also have sudden ideas and insights that seem like they're like a lightning strike coming to you from, wherever it comes from. So it might be a good idea to write really good ideas you have down, because these energies are transient. So if you have a really good idea, you may think, oh, I won't forget that idea. And then all of a sudden it'll be gone. So if you start having some good ideas about things, you may want to write them down, because this is not a stable energy, and you have to use practice and discipline to bring the instability of the Uranus to, into form. Okay, so I guess the last one that we haven't talked about is Pluto. So Pluto has been dancing along the end of Capricorn and the beginning of Aquarius. There's so much that can be said about this. But for now, what I just want to talk about is that Pluto is influencing in Aquarius your 12th house. And this can be like having an atomic bomb in your mental space. So this can be a little bit disruptive, but this can also be the phoenix rising from the ashes. So before I was talking to you about if you have mood issues or imbalances, you could be going into your phoenix rising from the ashes mode, where you basically get to have a clean slate because you're healing things. And you may be able to use the power of Saturn and the discipline and getting help and being structured and building in order to transform your mental and emotional space. So that's been going on. That's going to continue going on. Since it's dipping back into Capricorn, it will continue to do that for a bit. It's on the line there for a while. It's also revolutionizing your experience with the internet. I mean, obviously that's happening for everybody, but this is, specific to Pisces. It's in your 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius. So it's moving from the house of Aquarius into the sign of Aquarius. So, we're not going to get out of anything there because it's still continuing some themes. But, there may be ways you can transform yourself and your life in the world through the internet that you have to entertain. And those themes are going to be kind of pushing you along through this theme called grow or die. Now, usually the grow or die is figurative death, but it could be like the death of a business or something if you're not taking it to the next level, into the next, era. There may be things you have to go from the traditional Capricorn energies into these new forward-thinking futuristic types of ideas. And then you can discern which things need to stay Saturnian in the Capricorn, like which structures need to stay and which new ideas need to come in. We do have Capricorn energies entering the scene. In general, this is just back to kind of the December overview. The Capricorn energies entering the scene may help to give a little bit of stability to these jostly Sag energies. It's a really good time to have a lot of fun, to let loose, to socialize, to, interact with others, and to also hold some center and think about what worked for this year and start to get your plans for what you want to accomplish on every level for next year. Go to AnnieHelpsYou.com. That is the hub for all of my offerings. You can find all kinds of free goodies there. You can find access to my secret star portal, my free VIP community. You can find a link to my courses, especially my Astrology Basics and Beyond course and my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Certification course. If you're interested in doing astrology as part or all of your profession, I am your girl. I'm an astrology teacher. I've been doing this for a very long time. You can probably hear that with how I describe things. So if you want to learn, I will love to help you monetize your love of the stars. You can see all of that at AnnieHelpsYou.com. I hope you have a wonderful month and year, and I'll see you next month. And I guess kind of technically for the energies of next year. Bye.